Hey y'all, welcome to Dark Sugar Podcast. It is your host, Kiana, and I have been feeling so old school with this shit lately. Like, for real, I'm back to just getting that urge to record and doing it and not judging myself. So here we go. Well, for one, I've been noticing that I don't want to do mainstream topics. I do try to engage with y'all and ask you, what do you want to hear me talk about and things like that. But I think for a minute I was trying to be a little too mainstream, and lately topics have been just kind of coming to me, and I'm going to go with the flow with what's been coming. And my last episode was on projection, and I noticed that the topics that have been popping up in my brain are topics that really have been active in my life. Like, projection is something that I've definitely been realizing within myself and dealing with people around me in my life, and it's been helping me sort out some real big challenges. And recently, intuition has been popping back and up into my life, and intuition has always been a theme in my life. I'm a Pisces, that Scorpio rising, that empath, that like black sheep vibe, spiritual being vibe, that star seed vibe, you feel me? Like, that's me. So intuition has always really been there, but recently I feel like I've been strengthened, or I've gained this renewed strength within my intuition, and I'm gonna tell y'all the whole story, right? I got some coffee. Hold on. This shit is hot. Hold on. Okay. I cannot sip hot drinks. My mom's always like, sip it, just sip it. Like, why do you have to wait till it cools? Just sip it. I can't just sip, then I burn my tongue. Okay. So, I have always been a very intuitive person, right? Ever since I was little. And I have stories, but I'm learning I gotta protect my stories, because lately, I see that if you know, but you gotta protect yourself. So I'm not gonna give you detailed stories, but I've definitely had spiritual, intuitive experiences where I just know shit. And other people in my life can confirm, right? Other people have been there and seen this and witnessed this and experienced it with me. And it's not about being right all the time or being able to know anything and everything all the time, but I definitely have many instances that I literally could probably write a book about where I just knew something, right? Without any explanation, no logic, nothing told me, nobody showed me, nothing, I just knew. So I got the definition, right? This is the New Oxford American Dictionary. Intuition: the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. Immediately. So there's this whole debate on TikTok, right? Or not just on TikTok, social media in general, but main media for me, TikTok, where people are like, what's the difference between intuition and anxiety? Like, they both feel so intense, I can't tell the difference. And I totally agree. But I would throw in there that they feel very similar when you're not grounded. They feel very similar when you have not spent a lot of time with yourself in order to kind of calm down and breathe and really settle in your body and tell the difference. Because the main times I could not tell the difference between my anxiety and my intuition is when I was being gaslit in some way. Either I was gaslighting myself and I was in denial about what I was feeling because I didn't want to feel it or I couldn't handle it or whatever. Or in my situation, I knew something and felt something and tried to confront somebody about it, or brought it up in some type of way, and they were gaslighting me about it, which was giving me anxiety. And so I was like, that's the whole point. It messes with your nervous system. So from that point on, you no longer can tell what the fuck is going on. So yeah, and difference between anxiety and intuition. So put a pin in that. Sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. But my own experience with intuition, my intuition was very strong growing up, elementary school. It exploded in middle school and completely heightened all through high school, heightened, college, beginning of college, heightened. And then I would want to say around 2018, no, I'd say before that, around 2016, sorry. Around 2016, 17, I noticed that my intuition was no longer as strong as it used to be. I didn't get any hunches or nudges anymore. I kind of never knew what was going on. And I certainly felt like, I couldn't even use my own intuition for myself because the people around me were just, wow, you can, sense this and hear this and feel, people that have passed or like whatever it may be. So I felt like, I'd use it to comfort the people around me or just like kind of be experimental and like for fun. But I couldn't even use it for myself. So I was kind of like, what the hell? Like, what is happening? And I just could not get my intuition straight. So I remember so this is around 2016, 2017. Probably around 2020 is when I'm noticing for real, like, where is my intuition? Like, I thought I was an intuitive person. I just feel so shut off. Like, nothing's coming to me. Like, what the hell is happening? So I think because during this time in my life, I had a lot of toxic relationships, and unbalanced relationships. And to take my own accountability, I didn't really know myself very well. I was lost in my relationships. So I just really feel like I was so disconnected from who I was and myself that my intuition was just kind of cut off. Also, looking back at these relationships again, in order to be in these relationships that I was in, there was a part of me that I had to deny. So I felt like I wasn't really living authentically in a way. So my intuition just couldn't, like, I don't know if I'm explaining it right. And there's probably a better explanation of what I'm trying to say already online. I need to do more research, but I'm just talking. But yeah, it was kind of shut off. So I was like, what the hell? Like, where did it go? So probably around 2021, I'm starting to do some research because I'm like, where is my intuition? Like, how do you strengthen your intuition? Like, I need some help. Like, how do you become more psychic? Like, what do you do? So I'm starting to do some research, but nothing super crazy heavy. And then I get into these relationships around 2021, 2022, where my intuition is just on fire. Like, I'm just feeling all these things. Downloads are coming to me. My mental health is kind of flaring up and my mental illnesses are kind of all over the place. And I feel like I'm just going through a spiritual rebirth of the sorts where everything is just coming up. But I noticed during this time, my intuition is strong as hell. And there's this woman on YouTube. She's this black lady. She may be Jamaican or Caribbean or something of the sorts. Watch her just be African. I don't know what her ethnicity is, but she speaks on the spiritual realm a lot and just our beings and interconnectedness with earth and whatever. And she has one of these videos on like how to strengthen your intuition. Now, by this time, my intuition already feels like it's coming back. I'm noticing, but I come across this video. Nevertheless, I'm like, okay, let me watch this. And she says, the way to strengthen your intuition is to use it like a muscle. So if you haven't been using it for a while, it's not going to be working, which I just realized I just answered my own question when I was like, why did I not, why was my intuition not really working when I was in these toxic relationships? Well, I had to deny it and not listen to myself to be in them. So I wasn't using my intuition, because if I was using my intuition, I wouldn't have been in those relationships, if I'm being dead ass. So I was like, oh shit, like, all I have to do is just start. So honestly, what I started doing is I started doing very small things. So if I got this urge to go to the store, like if something was like, go to Fry's, like right now, I would go to Fry's. If something told me, hey, turn down this road instead of that one, I would just do it. I would just start following my little hunches, and sometimes they wouldn't lead to anywhere, but a couple times they did. So like, for instance, one time something I remember it was like 8 o'clock at night. I didn't really have to go to the store. Like, I could have waited a couple days, but something was like, go to the store. And I went to the store and I saw one of my old teachers from like 5th grade. And from that point on, we like have been in contact, and I've been over her house for dinner recently. And I just texted her a couple days ago, and we're cool. And then another time, I remember I was at church with my mom, and I have like I do not do well with loud noises. I think it's like a mix of PTSD and like sensory stuff. So at church, Baptist churches, they're yelling, they're screaming. I can only take so much of a frequency of yelling. So when the pastor started yelling, I kind of looked at my mom and I was like, okay, he's way too loud for me. I need to leave. And she's like, okay. And normally I'll try to sit there and wait it out. But this time I was kind of like, I'm not doing it. Like, Jesus, forgive me, I'm not doing it. So I got in my mom's car and I just went down the street to like this plaza of all these stores. And I literally went to this donut shop in South Phoenix, and they had a little seating area in front. I'm sitting at the seating area, and this guy walks past me, and he's like, Kiana? And I'm like, yeah, and I do not recognize him. I'm just staring, and then I'm like, oh shit, it was this guy I went to high school with that I hadn't seen in so long, and then now he's homeless. And I sat down with him, we caught up, I bought him food. And it was just such a crazy experience to me. And that was all just from like following these little hunches I had. And maybe more things have happened like these hunches, but those two like really stuck out to me because that was me just like practicing. Like, even though my intuition, I did feel it getting super strong, I still was like, okay, this is how I practice and make it stronger, And in the definition of intuition, I like how it says you know it immediately. So yeah, they say, okay, the difference between intuition and anxiety is intuition is quiet. That is true. Intuition is quiet. Anytime that I've had a download of sorts, or I've had this knowing that just came to me, it wasn't like I had to ruminate about it for hours or for a really long time, or it caused this crazy emotional reaction in me. It was like somebody was literally whispering in my ear. That's what it felt like. But also, the definition literally says you'll know it immediately. You will not have to call your friend. You will not have to throw a tantrum about it. You won't have to send a long text to confirm. You'll just know. And what I've been noticing is that, yes, my intuition is pretty strong, but what happens is I doubt myself. I create this gaslighting loop, and then that will give me anxiety. So now, on top of me knowing what I know, I'm in denial about it, which is causing me anxiety. And now I have all this anxiety. Like, I'm literally realizing that emotions are really signals, and we give emotions like way too much meaning, I'm noticing. And so this anxiety is because I'm in denial, especially if you're an empath. If you're outside whatever your window of tolerance is, you're gonna go into anxiety. Anxiety is your body in overwhelm. So I say that to say, and in me just being more accepting and growing in my intuition, I'm noticing that I'm understanding my emotions way more. So for instance, I made a video about this and I was trying to post it and make a reel and do a TikTok and whatever, but I'm just going to reiterate what I said in this video that's in my drafts. Where's my coffee, y'all? Give me a second. Whew. I'm drinking more and more coffee as I get older. I notice I'm going from like 1 cup to 2 to 3. I know I should be drinking water or tea. Okay, so, and let me just also say this. So today I was looking at some astrology shit, and it said red flag in Pisces in relationships or friendships. I think it said like Pisces don't know where they end and their friends begin, or something, where their friends end and they begin, or some shit. And I was like, interesting, because of what I'm about to tell you right now. So I remember when I first started studying being an empath and the difference between having empathy, having sympathy, and then being an empath. Because some people are highly empathetic, but they're not empaths. And then some people are empaths and they don't act empathetically, right? So there's like this little flow. And then you can have sympathy and not be empathetic. Okay. So I realized, oh my God, I'm an empath. This is what I've been going through. This is what I've been dealing with on this whole time. I've been on autopilot. I didn't know. This was like in 2021. I realized I was an empath, right? And being an empath just means that not only, because some people are like, oh, you feel other people's emotions. That's just like step one. To me, it goes deeper to the point where I absorb other people's emotions. And when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, absorb, like I take it on. Until I realized it was way more deeper than that in practice, right? So this used to happen before I studied being an empath, right? So I'd be sitting at home with my mom, and this is probably happened with other people, but when I realized what was going on, it was this experience with my mom. So I'm sitting with my mom, and maybe like we're not talking, like she's reading a book and I'm doing something else. I'm on my laptop or whatever. We're in the living room together or something. And I'll just get this intense desire, let's say, for like Wendy's, where it's like, I just really want Wendy's. And I'll turn to my mom and I'm like, Mom, I really want Wendy's. And she's like, no way, me too. And then my conclusion is, oh shit, we were just thinking the same thing at the same time. That's crazy. But then I realized, no, we were not thinking the same thing at the same time. My mom really wanted Wendy's. And because I'm an empath, and because my mom was sitting there probably in denial about it, like, oh, I really want Wendy's, but I shouldn't eat Wendy's. I just ate. Oh my God, I don't want to eat out. Like, she's probably like in turmoil about it. And so empaths especially absorb unclaimed emotions. So if people are in denial or they're projecting, you're more likely to absorb an emotion that people are literally throwing at you. They're trying to deny it, so they're throwing it away from themselves, right? So I literally was like, I want Wendy's too. When I really maybe did it. Like, I'm not going to say no, but was I thinking about Wendy's before? No. So when I realized that I can absorb other people's emotions so subconsciously like that, to the point where I don't even know that it's not coming from me, that's when I realized that I had to become so much more curious about my thoughts and my emotions, because I would feel things, get anxiety about my feelings, because whatever I'm feeling is outside of my tolerance. And then I'm assigning all these negative perceptions of my emotion, right? So an example is, I have a couple of friends that this happens with, but some of my friends, we have this like telepathy going on where like I'll think about them and they can feel it, and then vice versa. So I had to apply this theory to that also, because not like, for instance, let's say I'm thinking about an ex. Just because you're thinking about an ex doesn't mean that you need to reach out to that ex or text them and see how they're doing or anything like that. Because I realized that if I apply that to the ex situation, it's not that me and my ex are thinking about each other at the same time. I'm just probably feeling the ex think about me, and I'm just absorbing it by also thinking about them. Like I'm expanding this now and applying this to other things, and I'm just blown away because now I know. Or like sometimes I'll think about somebody. Let's say I'll think about a friend, and I'm like, oh, and then I'll reach out to them. And first of all, they were probably thinking about me, right? But I'm not aware. So I'm like, oh, I'm thinking about them. Let me reach out. Then, because maybe they're on a maybe they're having a bad day, they're on a low frequency or whatever, I feel so yucky because this has happened. I internalize this yucky feeling after reaching out to them and seeing how they're doing, instead of understanding that, I'm probably feeling this person going through something, especially because I just had this open channel of reaching out. Like, I'm saving myself so much time, you guys, just by being more curious about my feelings and diving more into my intuition and not questioning it. Because I don't question it anymore. When I feel something, I'm noticing that it's right. Especially if I have this, if I just go with the conviction, because it's like, that it's like that girl that calls into the radio station and she knows her husband ain't shit and she knows he's cheating, but she's like, I'm not sure, and what do you think, and this is what my friend says and this is what my mom says. And it's like, lady, the reason why you're going in circles is because like, so a lot of the times when they're like, oh, is it in your anxiety or intuition, sometimes for me it's both. Like, let's say I have this deep knowing that my partner's cheating. Now, what's giving me anxiety is how long they've been cheating, who have they been cheating on me with. Are they going to admit it if I confront them? How bad was the cheating? What type of cheating? So now I'm creating scenarios and getting anxiety about that, instead of just accepting this knowing that some sort of infidelity has taken place, no matter what it is. And how do I feel about that? And what am I going to do about it? Instead of leaning into my ego and trying to figure out what the bitch looks like. Do you see what I'm saying? Because that is going to give you anxiety. And then from there, you're going to start to doubt yourself. Well, I'm acting so crazy and now I'm on the Facebook trying to figure out which girl is it and who he knows. And maybe I am wrong. Because at that point, yeah, you're going to be, hopefully your partner would admit it to you. But you're already gaslighting yourself. They're probably going to do the same. I'm just seeing where it's like, it's just been an interesting journey, this empath journey, this intuition journey. Just trust yourself, bestie. That's all I gotta say. Just trust yourself. Deep down, you really do. A lot of times we don't want to know. And that's what I've been dealing with a lot. I've been really sitting with knowing certain things. And sometimes it sucks. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, I hate that I can see so deep. I hate that I can see, or let me not say hate, because it's a gift, so let me not say hate towards it, because then it's going to be taken away, and I'm going to feel a type of way about that. So, let me say it's challenging to be able to see the undercurrents of situations and people. Like, if I told you how deeply I could read some people, sometimes I feel really bad. It feels like I'm invading on someone's privacy. So I really try to watch it because I am crossing an energetic boundary in that way. But I'm learning to use the information that I know in a healthy way. Especially recently, I've had so much clarity about a lot of things and people in my life that was painful for me to realize and see. But now that I do, I'm kind of like, how can I use this to propel me forward? Like, how can I use this to my advantage? Like, how can I use this to protect myself? How can I use this information to, have some social, use it as kind of like social cognition, not in a mean or malicious way. Just like if I know a person in my life is prone to projecting onto me, especially when they're in a bad mood, especially when they have stuff going on in their life and that, they're pretending that they're happy, but they're really not. And one time they let it slip that this, that, and the third, and they didn't think I caught on, but I heard them in the tone in their voice. And, all these things that you pick up about people. it's like, what am I going to do with this information? How am I going to act differently? That's kind of like where I'm at. And I'm grateful for it. But it's just wild how much it's wild how much, being able to see. I'm grateful for it. It is a gift, and I'm just learning how to lean into it more and use it more. And I do see how people could use it and be manipulative. Like, I do see that. I acknowledge that option. But I really just want to create better boundaries for myself. That's really it. Because I think a lot of times I'm so emotional and I can be temperamental to the point where people think I'm like not aware, and they don't think I can see little micro things, expressions in their face, or their tone of voice when they ask me certain things, or the fact that they just lied because a minute ago they just said the opposite of what they're telling me now. Like, sometimes I don't think that people think that I'm peeping it, but it's all good. I'm just grateful that it's strengthened back, because now I just feel like more aligned with the universe. And if you've been feeling out of sync in any type of way, I would just start small. Like, literally maybe go out to a plaza or something and walk around where there are stores and just be guided by which store in your body. Go to this one, go to that one. Not here, go here. What to eat? Okay, gravitate which restaurant. And it'll slowly start building with little decisions. You'll get hunches to call somebody. Then you'll call them. Oh, girl, I'm so glad you called. Do you want to go to this vacation with me? I just got an extra ticket. You just called, girl. Now I'm something may happen. Like, you never know. Or you may walk in a building. You may get a nudge to walk in a certain building, and then there's a job fair in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you never know. But I think I'm finally learning and understanding how to navigate being so sensitive and being able to feel so many things that you can't explain. Because even when I'm doing this episode right now, I don't feel like I've really even explained what I mean. And I'm frustrated. I'm like, do they know what I'm talking about? But I can see, I guess another way to explain it is I can see and feel people's motivations and their insecurities and their subconscious narratives and what's driving them. And I can kind of, I don't know, man. It's interesting. I don't know how to explain it. And then I feel like I'm saying too much. I don't want to gatekeep, but I just wanted to update y'all on my journey of intuition and trusting myself, being more accepting of who I am and my own sensitivities. And I invite you and encourage you to do the same, because we need more people who are connected to their bodies and connected to the energy around us in the world, especially when we live in a society that is constantly urging us and feeding us disconnection all the time, because that benefits the government, that benefits capitalism for us to be disconnected. So the more in our bodies that we are, the more we can be resistant to the current powers who are trying to tear us apart right now, currently, every day. No matter where you are on the social hierarchy, they're trying to do it to everybody. So, it is Easter. Have a blessed Sunday, even though this won't be out on a Sunday, but whatever. Love y'all. Thank you for supporting. Peace.